Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the Fed has raised interest rates 8 times over the last year in what's been the most extreme rate hike cycle in 40 years. The Fed's goal is to slow inflation, and your tool, raising interest rates, is designed to slow the economy and throw people out of work. So far, you haven't tipped the economy into recession, but you haven't brought inflation entirely under control either. And maybe the reason for that is that other things are also keeping prices high, things you can't fix with high interest rates, things like price gouging and supply chain kinks and war in Ukraine. But you are determined to continue to raise interest rates, so I want to take a look at where you're headed. In December, the Fed released its projections on the state of the economy under your monetary policy plan. According to the Fed's own report, if you continue raising interest rates as you plan, unemployment will be 4.6% by the end of the year, more than a full point higher than it is today. Chair Powell, if you hit your projections, do you know how many people who are currently working, going about their lives, will lose their jobs?
I don't have that number in front of me. I will say it's not an intended consequence.
Well, but it is. And it's in your report, and that would be about 2 million people who would lose their jobs. People who are working right now making their mortgages. So, Chair Powell, if
Fake progressive Elizabeth Warren, I'm about to spill the beans on her. We're about to follow the money. This is the second time where I've seen her, and it's like, hey, now, which side's she on? Is she on the side of these big corporations, or is she on my side? This is the Senate hearing with Jerome Powell on banking. And Jerome Powell's between a rock and a hard place. I really thought the economy would have to be crashed to have even slow down inflation. And they've slowed it down and even get a little bit of deflation, which one of the more surprising things in this was that they are aiming for deflation, which I like, because if these big businesses won't raise their rates, then one way to force an invisible raise is to have some deflation. And I've showed you, Biden is the first president ever to burn a significant number of dollar bills. Back to Warren. I generally like her a lot more than a lot of politicians. But this is the second time where I've debated, okay, is she just not an A gamer and doesn't realize, like, if the Fed keeps allowing inflation to go out of control, it won't matter if you have a job. You won't be able to pay for anything. Or is she like the wolf in a lamb's costume where she's a corporatist posing as a progressive? Well, Elizabeth Warren, those billionaire tears, I'm not sure that she has tasted them, because I look at her contributors. These are huge numbers. First of all, 600,000. And they have companies that are traditionally Republican, like Amazon, Walt Disney, the funder of Trump 2020, AT&T pro-life company, Kaiser Permanente. So, like I said, still a world of difference between her and a MAGA terrorist, but I'm not a fan of Elizabeth Warren as much as I used to be. She is a corporatist. She's bought and paid for, even by some Republican companies.